Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Chaos Draft. Now, um, hmm, Maelstrom Pulse is good, but it locks me into two colors. Don't know about Dakmore Salvage. Flicker Wisp seems like a lot of fun. There might be some kind of affinity deck as well. We could take like a Frogmite, but I don't know if that's good. Maybe we just take Maelstrom Pulse and try and make a grindy mid-range deck. I'm gonna try it. We'll start by, because this is a chaos format, we're going to take the first few powerful picks we see, I think, regardless of color. And then, well, I mean, yeah, the Scarab God's pretty good, I hear. Unfortunately, Blood Moon is not. And if we can get some decent fixing, I can play a Sultai deck with these two cards. Coffee's still a little too warm to drink. I like Dark Ritual. It's one of the few cards in our colors. There's also Krosan Tusker, which is good with Scarab God for multiple reasons. There's a Rancor. I probably should get off of the Dark Ritual kick and just take something reasonable like Tusker, which is both fixing and a threat and something we can eternalize and cycling. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having Rancor or Twisted Abomination, but I think Tusker is the pick here. Alright, Hunting Pack. Create a 4/4 Beast with Storm. Child of Night, Darksteel Axe, Dirkwood Baloth, Praise Vengeance. Kind of like Dirkwood Baloth, because it's just something to do really early, but it might be a bad top deck. Child of Night can help keep us alive. Don't think we'd be playing Sanguine Bond. Also don't think we're playing Doorkeeper or Diminish. Praise Vengeance seems like something for a more aggressive deck than ours. I mean, more low to the ground aggressive is what I'm trying to say. We'll try taking the Baloth. Okay. There is an Armadillo Cloak, which is an excellent card. Fortunately, I don't think Burning Wish is playable. Simian Grunts is a 3-mana 3/4. There's also a Tyrant's Choice, which is just a burn spell. I think we take the Grunts. Not a huge fan of the Echo cost, but 3 mana for a 3/4 is not a bad rate. Okay. There's a Coiling Oracle, if we want to lean a little bit harder into the blue splash for Scarab God. It's also not a bad creature to eternalize, can help us ramp at bare minimum cantrips. The only other concern is I would rather, I think, have the Golgari Guildgate to make sure that we start getting some fixing, especially because I suspect that green will be our primary color just by looking at this. There are 9 cards in this pack, or 10 cards in this pack, so Coiling Oracle could technically wheel, but kind of doubt that. Penumbra Spider is also good, but I think I want an earlier play, so we'll take Coiling Oracle. Nature's Lore is a great ramp spell. Pine Barrens is a tapped pain land. But, I mean, it is in our colors, and I've got a feeling we can't play a 3-color deck without fixing. So, I'm going to take Pine Barrens, as much as I don't like it. In this pack, there's an Ichor Wellspring and a Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot, both of which basically do the same thing. There's a Might of the Masses, which I probably won't be playing. There's a Magnifying Glass, which is both a ramp spell and potentially a late-game draw engine. Maybe I take the Magnifying Glass. Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Magnifying Glass. I don't know if I'm going to play it, but I think it's slightly more likely that I play a random Manalith effect, or, you know, like a Mind Stone effect, than it is that I play, like, Ichor Wellspring. Alright, there's a Nantucko Shaman. I don't think I play Moth Dust Changeling. Wow, I can't speak this morning. Absorb Vis, actually, as a basic land cycler, will be nice, because we are playing 3 colors, technically. It also, like, has a decent upside, just casting it as a 7-mana way, with, like, to win the game with a little bit of reach. Don't think I'll be playing Brainstorm, but I can play Parasitic Strix. We do have at least 1 black permanent currently. It looks like we might be playing Simic with Black Splash at this point. I think the pick here is between Mystic of the Hidden Way and Woolly Loxodon. And I kind of like Woolly Loxodon, so we'll take that. A Child of Night or Praise Vengeance. I will take Child of Night because I want something to get on the board early. The lifelink could also be relevant. There's also the chance that we eternalize it to make a big lifelinking blocker or attacker. Something to stabilize versus a more aggressive deck than ours. Okay, I will take Kravokian Sorcerer, Kravikan Sorcerer. Guildgate came all the way around. That's actually quite good. Jailbreaker's not a bad card, but definitely need the fixing here. And Putrid Imp. Alright. Second round of packs. Nothing super good. There's a Basking Rootwalla, which we're not really doing madness things. There's a Miming Slime, Verdant Eidolon, 3 mana of any one color. So we can use this as like a pseudo mana boost / fixing. We can also get it back from the grave if we ever cast a multicolored spell. We could also just take Frantic Search, because Frantic Search is a pretty powerful effect. We have no way to really take advantage of the mana, but it does build Threshold. We could start taking things like reanimation spells and pitch some of our high-cost cards. I actually really like that. Okay, Ryusi the Falling Star. There's an Aetherize. Probably going to take Evolving Wilds. Don't really have any dragons for Foul Tongue Invocation. 3 mana Edicts without upsides I'm not really sure about. Yeah, we're going to take the Evolving Wilds. A second Maelstrom Pulse. I mean, yeah, why not, right? I wouldn't mind a Kitchen Finks. But yeah, I guess we could also take a Walker of the Grove. We're looking for some reanimation spells, I think, at this point. Savage Lands does technically fix for us. We do have 15 playables currently. What are other options? Don't think we'd play Carnage Gladiator, especially because it requires red. Ogre Jailbreaker, we have exactly 1 Guildgate. Slaughterhorn is a combat trick as well as a creature. I think I take the Savage Lands. A lot of my mana is going to be coming in tapped, but it's kind of worth it to be able to cast my spells. Let's see, Burning Tree Emissary, I don't think so. We have nothing we can like blitz into after the fact. Might just take another Golgari Guildgate. Penumbra Spider would be good. We have no 4-drops right now. It's also a really good Eternalized target. Nobody took the first Golgari Guildgate, so I think I'm going to take the Spider. Deadly Designs, put a plot counter on it. When there are 5 or more, destroy up to 2 creatures. Death's Head Buzzard. When it dies, all creatures get -1/-1. There's a Sift, an Unearth, and a Wildheart Invoker. Unearth can get us like a Coiling Oracle again, or it cycles. I think I go with the Wildheart Invoker. So we're looking for, at this point, we're looking for some reanimation spells, or we're looking for some decent ramp. Because right now we only have Coiling Oracle and Magnifying Glass. Let's see, Mana Prism is a good mana rock for a deck like ours. Urborg Uprising is pretty good value, but it is very slow. Don't think this is a Claws of Wirewood deck. Probably not a Rocky Tar Pit deck either. I'll take the Mana Prism for now. I do like Nameless Inversion as a kill spell. There's also Sylvan Bounty, which is another basic land cycler. I think it's better to have creatures that cycle for basic lands if we do get a reanimation spell, but I like Nameless Inversion because our deck is very top heavy right now. And Nameless Inversion is exactly the kind of spell we need to buy ourselves a little more time to get to the top end. I think we have no cards with Madness, so Olivia's Dragoon is not super worth it. But I mean, I'm going to take it just in case I can't lower the curve enough. This is something that is playable. Discarding a card to give your Grizzly Bears flying is not that big of a deal. So we can take Jotty, Offshoot, Nature's Claim, or Bewilder. I think it's better to have the creature. We might actually want the Nature's Claim for the sideboard, so I'm going to do that. We will technically be playing Islands. I don't know if it's enough to play a foil. I also don't know that I want a Bloodflow Connoisseur. So I'm going to put foil in the sideboard for now. Kraken Hatchling in the sideboard for... We could play, if we play against aggro, we can just bring in a bunch of like 1-drop defenders. It actually might be more playable than I imagine it would be. We'll play Recover. We don't have a lot of creatures with the same name, so unfortunately Echoing Courage is not really a thing. And Goblin Commando into the side. So we do have actually kind of a reasonable deck. It's not an amazing deck, but it is reasonable, and it has 2 Maelstrom Pulses in it, which I'm kind of excited about. Final pack, Deathrite Shaman. I mean, I'll play a Deathrite Shaman. We do have an Evolving Wild, so we can get a land into the grave. We just have a bunch of reach. Like, I'll play a 1-mana Planeswalker, given the option, you know. Grand Coliseum. It's another tap land, but it does tap for colorless or any color of mana, and we are playing 3 colors. So I think I am going to take it. Arrogant Worm. We do have Putrid Imp, we do have Olivia's Dragoon. So I do like Arrogant Worm. It is the only green card in this pack, though. So I will take Grand Coliseum. Divinity of Pride. It's flying lifelink 4/4. Gets +4/+4 if you have 25 or more life. Death Rattle is actually a pretty good removal spell. There's Warren Weirding. I don't think I'll be heavy enough black to play Divinity of Pride, even though it's awesome. It's just like quintuple black is going to be difficult. So I think we take Death Rattle. We don't really like delve a lot or anything, but see, Necrogenesis, exile a creature card from a graveyard, make a Saproling, there's a Bloodthrone Vampire, commune with nature, Death Denied, Sickle Ripper, Wayfarer's Bauble is ramp. I could take Orzhov Basilica and then just never, ever, ever get to 3 mana untapped. It's probably worth it to take the Basilica. The bounce lands are pretty good generally in Limited. Yeah, we'll do that. I do like Innocent Blood. I've always liked this card, and I kind of wanted it in Modern for a long time because I really hated Boggles. Guess we take Twisted Abomination. How many removal spells do I actually have? 2 Maelstrom Pulses, Death Rattle, Aimless Inversion. Yeah, I'll take the Twisted Abomination. Ooh, what does this guy do? Jugen the Rising Star. When he dies, you may distribute 5 1/1 counters among any number of target creatures. For triple green, that might be kind of tough. We have a lot of double green stuff, though, so I guess if we were going to go for a triple colored spell, Jugen might be the easiest. The Selesnya Sanctuary, that I would be missing out on to take this card. We do have 24 playables. Yeah, I'm going to take Jugen. Oh man, Worm Harvest. I love Worm Harvest. This is one of my favorite cards in the whole game. Base Vaulter, probably not. We could play a 5-mana 5/5 Skyreach Manta pretty easily, because I think we have all 5 colors of mana. Warren Pilfers enters the battlefield. You may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If that card is a goblin card, it gains haste. Warren Pilfers does. Otherwise, we just take a Thallid. I'll take a Thallid. Groundskeeper, I'm not really self-milling. Patchwork Gnomes. This is definitely not a Martyr of Sands deck. I don't think this is a Crow of Dark Tidings. Yeah, I'll take Groundskeeper, but I don't think this is a deck that plays Groundkeeper. Roots. Tap enchanted creature, doesn't untap. Elephant Guide. Elephant Guide's a pretty good rate for a buff. Choking Sands. I actually have like an ancient, I think it's Korean Choking Sands in a binder somewhere, but I'll put that in the sideboard. I don't think I'll be playing Land Destruction. We don't have any goblins, I don't think. I don't think we're playing anything in this pack, so I'm just going to put that in the side. Let's see. Overwhelm. Creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn. I think I take Sickle Ripper. Not that I'm going to play it, but... Oh, this is a reanimation spell. I'll take a reanimation spell. And an Edict. And probably not playing that Goblin. Alright, well we got ourselves a deck. A deck with a lot of tap lands, but a deck nonetheless. So let's group creatures separately here, see what we're dealing with. I may just want to splash blue here. Because like Coiling Oracle and Scarab God, maybe Frantic Search are what I'd be interested in playing from blue. I mean, I'm definitely playing Scarab God. Parasitic Strix is a way for like to get a little reach. It's a decently costed flyer, and it does have a pretty high chance of actually draining our opponent. Because we have a lot of lower drop black permanents. So like on the way to Parasitic Strix, we'll probably play a black spell at some point. I think I have to cut some of the 3-drop cards here. I don't think I'm playing Foul-Tongued Invocation. I do have a dragon in the deck, technically. Don't think I'm playing Recover. I really like Frantic Search. I mean, just between Evolving Wilds, Grand Coliseum, Mana Prism, and an island, we'll have 4 blue sources to splash blue with, at least. I think I cut Magnifying Glass. We have a good number of creatures. I'm going to cut the Woolly Loxodon. I like, as bad as it is, I like Absorb Vis because it's actually another way for us to get blue if we're going to be playing blue. And I think the last card, I really should be running 17 lands, so I need to cut 2 more. I'm going to cut Thallid, and this guy has Wither. I'll cut the random 2-mana 2/1. So we want Evolving Wilds, Golgari Guildgate, Grand Coliseum, Pine Barrens, Savage Lands, Orzhov Basilica. So this gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, 5, 6, 7-ish blue sources, despite only having 2 islands in the deck. Alright. If this deck turns out to be too slow, I'm going to have to drop a bunch of the tap lands, and probably blue, except for Scarab God. But I mean, this deck, in theory, looks sweet, so we'll see what happens. Round 1, here we go. I mean, yeah, I'll keep it. So, start Forest, Deathrite Shaman. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an island, we untap. We draw Pine Barrens. I played the wrong land. Should have known that I was going to draw a tap land because of how many we have. So I'm going to play a Pine Barrens and not get to play a Putrid Imp this turn because I missequenced my mana base. That is something you should be aware of, especially when you draft a limited deck. Is how you're going to sequence your lands. It's good in any format of Magic, but in Limited it's especially important. Like, if you have the option of playing a black 1-drop and a blue 1-drop, and you have a card that's double black in your deck, and you're holding 2 swamps, you should probably start with the black. Like, if it's a double black 2-drop is what I'm saying. You should probably start with the swamp, and then the black 1-drop play. Alright, we get a Krosan Tusker. So, considering my opponent only has 1 card, or 1 blue mana available, I'm just going to Elephant Guide here. Gonna go a little aggro. We're holding 2 Maelstrom Pulses, so we should be able to back this up pretty easy. Okay, opponent plays an island. Opponent sifts, discarding an island. Attacks us for 1. We untap and draw Simian Grunts. So, we have a few options. We're definitely attacking with Deathrite this turn, because we're not passing up on, you know, a free 4 damage. We could cycle Krosan Tusker, get a black source, play Putrid Imp. We could cycle Krosan Tusker, get a blue source. I think Simian Grunt's beatdown is actually the plan, though. Okay. Hit our opponent down to 11. Pass the turn, opponent plays a Plains, and an Elite Vanguard. Okay, they go to combat and do not attack. Flash in Simian Grunts. Untap. We'll pay the Echo. Play a Grand Coliseum. Pass the turn. Next turn we can Maelstrom Pulse, and then hit in for 7. Aether Snipe. So they bounce Deathrite. That is a bit unfortunate. We untap and draw Child of Night. I think what we do here is play Deathrite Shaman and Maelstrom Pulse Aether Snipe. We're going to attack for 3. My opponent would have to discard a card and trade both creatures here if they wanted to kill this. And if we top deck a land, we can play Jugan. Okay, opponent untaps. Attacks for a lot, potentially. We take 3. Opponent plays a Plains. Lone Missionary, they gain some life. Flicker Wisp. They Flicker Wisp Lone Missionary, gain more life. That is annoying. But, like... Alright, thank you, opponent, for giving me a green mana here. Play Jugan. I am going to attack. Probably should have done that first, but... Opponent takes 3. They untap. Opponent Madness is just the win, so we're taking a ton of damage here. Okay. Do we take 10, go to 4. Untap, we get a Dirkwood Baloth. So we can exile a creature card from the grave to gain 2 life. Play Child of Night to have a blocker. I wish I had 1 more mana, because then I could Maelstrom Pulse or Cycle Krosan Tusker as well. I think I will play out Putrid Imp because it does block pretty effectively. And I think I can attack here. Opponent has a Wing Shards. Okay, well, I mean, I'd rather sack this than some of the other stuff we were playing. We gotta remember that, though, for later. Five mana. That is a problem. Okay, they bounce Child of Night. Opponent is going to go to combat. Swing out. So we discard Dirkwood Baloth. Putrid Imp flying. We block here and here. And then we gain 2 life by exiling one of the creatures in their grave. They are going to discard their last card to trade with Deathrite Shaman, which I'm fine with. We can Frantic Search because it's free. I don't think it buys us anything, though. I can't Child of Night and Maelstrom Pulse this turn. Yes, I can. So I Frantic Search for mana fixing. We discard Mana Prism and Krosan Tusker. Untap here, here, and here. Play an island. Play Child of Night. Maelstrom Pulse, Riftwing, Cloudskate. Then as long as my opponent does not draw removal, if they attack us, we can block, stay at 1, then play Jugan. But we need our opponent to have a couple of bad draws right in a row. Okay, they attack. We block the one that is less useful to flicker. Okay, well, I can't play Jugan, and wouldn't matter if I could anyway. Alright. So, what do we do here? Our deck was really slow. I think that means I drop Orzhov Basilica. We will add, I think, just a swamp in its place. The repeated unsummons with fast threats was pretty good against us. Alright, I'd like to play first. I think this is fine. It's a little bit slow, but we have all of our colors of mana, so anything we top deck is going to be good here. Play Evolving Wilds, pass the turn. Opponent starts Plains. Get a Swamp. Untap. Draw Mana Prism. Play Dragoon. Pass the turn. Plays a Soltari Trooper. Okay. A 1/1 with Shadow. Could pulse that. I don't know if it's worth pulsing that, though. It's probably better to just play Mana Prism. So we're going to attack and play Mana Prism. And considering our I think I'm going to hold on to Absorb Beast to actually cast this game, I suspect. I draw Wildheart Invoker. I'm going to Pulse Aquamoeba because my opponent does have Madness cards. If they like have a Just the Wind here, they'll cast it. And then we can't replay a Dragoon because we don't have double black, but yeah, okay. That is exactly what's happening. But we still have more cards in hand than our opponent, and they're losing an Aquamoeba here. So they're going to get in... Basically, we did all of this to get another 2 damage. Next turn, we can play both Wildheart Invoker and Dragoon. Well, looks like my opponent missed a land drop, so they had to cycle for a Plains. Okay, they hit us for 2. We untap. Did somebody tell me how this is a human? Anyway. Play Swamp. Replay Dragoon. Then play Wildheart Invoker. Pass the turn. We're only 2 turns away from activating Invoker, which is pretty nice. When it plays a Plains, hits us for 2. Sure. When it Flicker Wisps a land. Looks like they have a Wing Shards. So we untap and draw Twisted Abomination. Go to combat. Attack for 2. No Wing Shards, no block. Okay. Play an island. Yeah, we are going to play out Twisted Abomination because we can leave up the regen for it. You just have to make sure that it never attacks alone, as long as they keep representing Wing Shards. Okay, opponent attacks for 5. We also can't cast things pre-combat if we're going to attack. Ronam Unicorn. Sure. We untap. Draw Simian Grunts. Go to combat. Attack with the whole team. So I'm pretty sure they can cast Wing Shards during damage. They'll take the 9 damage, but then we would lose like Wildheart Invoker. Okay. So trade Dragoon for Ronam Unicorn. End of combat. Opponent Wing Shards. So we have to sack... Is it better to sack the Invoker? I don't think so, because that actually gives trample. I think we actually sack the Twisted Abomination at this point. We can either play out Simian Grunts. I think I'm just going to cast Absorb Beast, though. Pass the turn. Playing out the Grunts may have been better. And the only reason I gave up on Twisted Abomination is because my opponent probably has unsummon spells more than they would have destruction spells. Okay, opponent scoops it up. Go to game 3. Any other adjustments that I want to make? Nope. Hey, this is a turn 2 Coiling Oracle. With all of our colors of mana, I'm actually pretty down for this. And does not do a lot, but hopefully we can get it to do something. Opponent has a Benevolent Bodyguard. Gotta get that sweet alliteration start. Okay. Well, the flood begins. I should never have kept this hand. The upside of it is like hyper amazing if we just draw action. We're holding a third of the lands in the deck, so odds that we draw land is pretty low. And we have a redraw here. Okay, Twisted Abomination. Play Coiling Oracle. Okay, we get a Dragoon, which is a playable spell. When it cycles Noble Templar, gets a Plains. They play a Plains. They do not go to combat and attack. We draw Dirkwood Baloth. So I think we play a Swamp, play Dragoon, go to combat, attack for 1, opponent no blocks, suspend Baloth, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Lotus Eye Mystics. We untap. Baloth ticking down. We draw an Elephant Guide. So, play Grand Coliseum. Put Elephant Guide on Dragoon. I should have put it on Coiling Oracle if they were going to unsummon it, actually. Discard a Swamp, and we're going to get in for 5. Because if I put it on Coiling Oracle, and they unsummoned it, we would at least get a replay on Coiling Oracle, which would be pretty sweet. Okay, we hit them for 5. Pass to our opponent. Opponent plays an island. Cyclonic Rift. Had to be a bounce spell. Okay. That is unfortunate. Hit us for 4, no blocks. We untap. Dirkwood Baloth ticking down. Play a swamp. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Opponent goes to 13. Replay Dragoon. And replay, and then play Child of Night. Pass the turn. So now my opponent can't attack without some kind of prowess trigger. Aether Snipe. Okay. They can attack if they give up on Benevolent Bodyguard, which I am going to make them block, or I'm going to block and make them do that. We don't particularly care about Dragoon. Getting rid of our opponent's onboard trick I think is worth it, especially with a nameless inversion. So now I can attack, and if they block with Aether Snipe, I can kill it. Okay, opponent does not block. Play a Forest, play Child of Night. We're going to nameless inversion now while I don't have mana for protection. I'm waiting to play Twisted Abomination until I have 7 mana so I can hold up Regenerate, so it becomes a really, really good blocker. Hit us for 4, we go to 11, not going to block here. Play Lone Missionary and gain life. We untap. Draw Parasitic Strix. Well, I think the plan is to play Parasitic Strix. Drain them for 2 and then swing with the team. We do have a Dirkwood Baloth coming next turn. Is it worth making this attack just for a Lone Missionary? They do have Flicker Wisps and stuff, it's probably worth it. Okay, we go up to 15. If they attack, I don't think I'm going to block because I do want protection against Wing Shards next turn. Because they have been representing it on and off this entire time, and we are casting a spell next turn. So I want to be able to attack with 2 other things and Dirkwood Baloth here. They do not attack. Okay, we untap. Cast Dirkwood Baloth. And we draw Island. Okay, go to combat. They can actually wipe our board if they're willing to take 7 damage. With as much life gain as they have, I would not be surprised. Yeah, they're going to block there, and then post damage, they're going to Wing Shards, and we have to sack our whole board. Oh, they don't have it. They were bluffing. Nice. Play Twisted Abomination. Pass the turn. Now we are in a good spot. I mean, we played into one of their best removal spells that they were representing the whole game, but I think it was also the only way we won. And that's round 1 for you guys. So I will see you guys in round 2. Alrighty, round 2, here we go. Well, I kind of like this. This is set up for like a Reanimation Jugan hand. We are on the draw, so hopefully we will hit a 3rd land for Frantic Search. Green being one of our more common colors of the deck. Most of our dual lands tap for green. My opponent is also playing white. They did mulligan to 6. So we're going to start Swamp. Pass the turn. We have to choose between Olivia's Dragoon and Orzhov Basilica next turn. I think we pick the Basilica. Thalia. How rude. Grand Coliseum. My goodness. What is happening with the dogs right now? I think the neighbor dog came over, from what I hear. So, sorry about that. We're going to play Grand Coliseum, pass the turn. I think we need to start setting up for a Maelstrom Pulse. And this is the fastest way for us to do that. Okay, opponent attacks us for 2 and plays a Sky Hunter Skirmisher. We untap, draw Simian Grunts. That is also a way to deal with Thalia, so I think I'm going to do that instead. Pass the turn. Frantic Search with Orzhov Basilica actually generates mana too. So we can Frantic Search Torrent of Souls, Jugan in the same turn, and we have red because we have Grand Coliseum. That would be awesome. Opponent cycles Chartooth Cougar to get a mountain. So if they have a 1-mana burn spell that deals 4 damage at instant speed, we're going to be sad, but if they don't, we are good to go. Okay. Flash in Simian Grunts. Block down Thalia. Pyrewild Shaman. Alright. Well, they got our Thalia. At least they didn't rush that onto the Double Striker. We draw a Parasitic Strix. I could play that out and actually block down the Sky Hunter Sky Knight, but I could also do that with Olivia's Dragoon. What is the play here? I think the play involves playing Dragoon, playing Basilica, picking up a swamp. And as long as Thalia's on board, Frantic Search with a bounce land is actually mana neutral. They attack us for 4. I'm not going to block. They can pick up Pyrewild Shaman. Okay. They're going to play out Borderland Marauder. We untap. Draw Guildgate. We have access to 5 mana this turn. So depends on whether or not we want 6 mana next turn. We don't have triple green, so we can't just cast Jugan next turn. If I Maelstrom Pulse and kill Thalia... Sorry about the dogs barking. If I can Maelstrom Pulse down Thalia, I can jump the Dragoon to block Sky Hunter Sky Knight, and we'd only take like 6 damage if my opponent Blood Rushes. I think that's probably the way to go. So, Maelstrom Pulse Thalia. We'll play a Guildgate this turn. Pass the turn. So now the question is, does my opponent have like a Pacifism and Blood Rush? Wow. Do I call it or what? That's lethal +1. Yeah. Maybe I should have Maelstrom Pulsed the Double Striker because we knew they were holding Blood Rush. But... okay, well we know what we're up against. I'm going to drop Basilica because it is very slow. I don't think we need the value so much as we need untapped lands at the moment. This might be a time for like Kraken Hatchling. Foul-Tongued Invocation's also kind of reasonable here, but if I bring in Kraken Hatchling, what do I drop? What is really bad versus a go-wide deck that plays Thalia? Probably Absorb Beast. Probably should add another island instead of a swamp in that case. We did just add another blue 1-drop to the deck. Okay, we'll try it like this. Alright, we'll play first. Mulligan, I think. Alright. It's not amazing, but this is a little awkward because I think I have to either give back... I have to put back Scarab God, or I have to put back probably Baloth. Yeah. I'm gonna put back Baloth, even though it would be good to suspend it on turn 1. I suspect I would rather be casting a Penumbra Spider on turn 4 rather than waiting for 5 turns against a deck that is as fast as my opponent's. They start with a Goblin Guide. Draw me an island, Goblin Guide. Deathrite Shaman. Okay. Play a Swamp. Play Deathrite. Pass the turn. Deathrite can at least gain us a little bit of life. My opponent plays Thalia here. We do have Nameless Inversion. Opponent attacks us for 2 again. Elephant Guide on top of our deck. No blocks. Opponent plays a Pyrite Spellbomb. We play a Forest. And we'll pass the turn. In response to Pyrite Spellbomb, we could kill Goblin Guide and then gain life. I don't want to play out Elephant Guide, though, if my opponent is just going to kill Deathrite in response. That's paying 3 mana to do nothing. Paying 3 mana and a card. If my opponent's unwilling to do it on my turn, we might be able to at least kill Goblin Guide after getting a land draw. They don't attack. They play a Youthful Knight. I think it's more worth it to kill the 2-1 with First Strike. Really hoping we draw any untapped land here. Opponent's going to kill Deathrite in response. Oh, it only exiles instant or sorceries, not non-creature. Sad face. Okay, well, that situation resolved itself. Draw land, so we can play Penumbra Spider. Now, if we could rip an island off the top, oh man, that would be the most amazing top deck. So my opponent plays a Dragon Bell Monk. We untap, draw forest, play a forest. I suspect my opponent has a pacifism, but we're going to make a big threat here. I kind of want them to attack with Goblin Guide so we potentially can get a little deeper in our deck. They do have 4 non-land spells in their hand, at least. Battle Rattle Shaman. That is a little bit concerning. Draw me a land, Goblin Guide. Child of Night. Child of Night is not a bad draw here. So play Child of Night. I think I still get in with Penumbra Spider. The only way that goes wrong is if my opponent has removal. Maybe I have to stay back on defense. Okay, opponent plays Plains. They have Lava Spike in their deck. That's not concerning. Hammer Hand. Target creature can't block this turn. Enchanted creature gets 1/1 and has haste. Oh no. Well, I'm glad I didn't attack. Opponent gives Goblin Guide +2/+0. So I can block Goblin Guide, kill it, gain 2. There's a Frantic Search on top of my deck that I can't cast. So if I block here, I go to 2. Then I block here, or here actually, and die. If I block here, I go to 2, but my opponent retains 3 creatures. I'm just dead. Oh man, opponent's aggro deck is sweet. And they have something else? Wow. We're just dead instantly. Didn't matter what we blocked. Yeah, opponent's deck was very good. Alright, well, I will see you guys in round 3. Alrighty. Gotta play round 3 quick here because I don't have a lot of time, but I think this hand will work. So we're going to start with Grand Coliseum tapped. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Mountain. So we'll play Pine Barrens and suspend a Dirkwood Baloth. Opponent plays a Forest. We untap Baloth, taken down. We draw an island. Play a Swamp. Pass the turn. Probably just going to flash Simian Grunts at our opponent's turn here. Opponent plays a Vithian Stinger, which is a nice Tim effect. So, flash in Simian Grunts. Untapped. Suspend ticking down. Pay the Echo cost. Draw a Swamp. Get in for 3. Okay. Hit our opponent down to 17. They untap. They play a Forest into a Blastoderm, which has Shroud. Well, that is unfortunate, but we did draw a Scarab God. So play Scarab God. Pass the turn. The cool thing is, if Scarab God dies, we get it back to our hand unless our opponent has a way to exile our grave. Making it a pretty good blocker for Blastoderm. Okay, opponent goes to combat, attacks for 5. We will trade. 5 mana. Opponent plays a Scuzzback Marauders. We untap and draw Krosan Tusker. So, play Scarab God, pass the turn. Opponent's going to ping us with Vithian Stinger. I think if my opponent attacks with the Marauders, we're going to block with Simian Grunts. Goblin Patrol and Browbeat. My opponent would go to 6 cards in hand. They scoop. Okay. I don't think they can beat Scarab God. I could bring in Kraken Hatchling. I think I will. I'm going to drop Orzhov Basilica for an island. And we're going to play it like this. Well, I'm glad we took the Scarab God, because it won us at least one game. This is a very slow hand. We have Frantic Search and Torrent of Souls, though, and Jugen. I'm going to try keeping this. Unfortunately, we don't have a forest for an turn 1 Dirkwood Baloth Suspend, which is what I would really hope for. If I top deck one, we still have it, because we are on the draw, but it did mulligan to 6, no 1-drop. We draw Blue Source, which is great. Play Guildgate, pass the turn. I did take out the bounce land, so there's no ramping into Torrent of Souls here. Opponent plays a forest. We untap and draw Grand Colosseum, which is a fair thing to play this turn because we have no other plays. That will give us red mana for Torrent of Souls. We draw Death Rattle, so play an island, play Mana Prism, pass the turn. Opponent Molten Birth. They lost the coin flip. We untap. Dirkwood Baloth ticking down, play a swamp. So I think the plan is Frantic Search, discard land and Jugen. Then we Torrent of Souls, reanimate Jugen. Oh, I need to spend red mana. Okay. Reanimate Jugen the Rising Star and get in for 7. Problem is we don't have another creature on the battlefield. If Jugen dies, we have nowhere to put the counters. I don't know if my opponent has like a plummet in their deck. They could, but they didn't see any flyers last game. 3 mana, opponent plays Vithian Stinger. Gets in for 2. Their only option really is to race, and that's not super likely. But that will play out for them. Okay, so let's play Coiling Oracle, see what we draw. Child of Night. Play Child of Night. And we will play a Kraken Hatchling. Get in for 5. And I think we got this game in the bag. Opponent Glacial Ray's Child of Night. Glacial Ray. Sounds like Rachel Ray. So opponent kills our X1s, gets in for 2. Block 1 with a Kraken Hatchling. We untap. We draw the Scarab God. Play the Scarab God. And opponent scoops it up. Because Scarab God is way too much value. And we get 100 play points. Alright, well I hope you guys enjoyed this iteration of Masters Chaos Draft. I will probably be doing a couple more of them, so we'll see what I can get done. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. You can also follow me on Twitch, same username over there as you find me on here. I usually stream on Wednesdays around 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, US time zones. I don't know. Usually we've been, while I'm on my vacation across country, we've been streaming earlier. So just keep an eye out Wednesdays, and yeah, hope to see you there. Want you to know that you're all wonderful human beings, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!